A very good morning to you and welcome to K24 this morning. My name is Jeff Morton. Of course, we're looking at matters, BBI, and where we're going from here. So let's do an intro to that. Now, off the back of what was billed as Super Tuesday, only 38 counties giving a resounding yes. The next stop would be Parliament. However, seems like the road to the referendum has a couple of speed bumps along the way, with a court case putting a stay on the bill proceeding to the National Assembly and the Senate. However, moving away from the letter of the bill, what of its spirit? Is it intact, and do the people still feel that it speaks to their needs and aspirations? It's already steady referendum on K24 this morning, but as always, we start off by looking at the front pages of our dailies. Welcome to the show. Okay, let's see what you have on the front page of your People Daily. How Uhuru and Raila outsmarted Ruto. Handshake partners, privately engaged leaders of county assemblies and mobilized key political party leaders to convince supporters to rally behind the bill. As you can see right there, as it stands at this particular point, 40-1, Turkana County becoming the 40th assembly to pass a Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill. Only Baringo has shot it down. You can find that particular story in your copy of your People Daily on that. And as you can see, as you go further down on that particular page, dancing to reggae tune after Super Tuesday. Raila Odinga dances with youth representatives from the larger Meru, Embu and Tharaka Nithi regions during a forum at Fungamano House in Nairobi yesterday. So celebrating the fact that this particular bill has indeed not only gotten to the threshold, but way surpassed it as far as that's concerned. This particular story on your copy of your People Daily on page 5. Right next to that particular picture, Kenya dollar millionaires dropped by 22%. This is a story you can find on page 16 of your People Daily therein. And of course, I'm talking about just what COVID has done as far as matters economy are concerned. And more importantly, some of the issues that the economy needs to deal with even as it moves forward. So that's a story you can find on page 16 of your People Daily. Quickly scroll up right there. As you can see, still eyes on COVID. Ghana, first to get COVAX vaccine. As you can see right there, as the world tries to grapple with getting enough vaccines for its population, Ghana being the first country to get it off the COVAX facility. You can find this story on page 13 of your People Daily. Don't forget, by the way, you can get it straight to your phone, and the number that you dial is *550*4#. Once again, the number is *550*4#. Dial it and get it straight to your phone. It's brought to you by the People Daily and Safaricom. So do that, and of course, get yourself fully informed as to the big stories of the day. Let's see what else you have on your dailies. This is the Daily Nation. Uhuru, Raila unleash strategy. Let's go low and see what they're planning as we move it forward. 10 teams led by political heavyweights and compromising of clerics, trade unionists and civil society leaders, among others, to mobilize support for the bill. As you can see this, even as they move forward, they're not getting their foot off the pedal as far as that's concerned. If anything, they're going to flat it out and go the distance. You can find this story on page 5 of your Daily Nation with the details right there. On to the Standard's front page now. Let's scroll and see what you have. Raila, if I am elected. This is what he's talking about. Today, after BBI's Super Tuesday win, ODM leader gives Kenyans a glimpse of his radical plan to increase cash allocations to counties to a high of 55%. The sneak peek into the potential contents of his manifesto is his strongest hint yet that he will run for the top seat in next year's polls. This is a story on page 8 of your Standard. You can get the details of that right there, because there's a lot of speculation. Is he going to be vying for office? Will he be endorsing somebody? Well, as the days go by, it seems clearer and clearer that he probably might be in that particular race. And that story is on page 8 of your Standard. On to the Star now. How Uhuru and Raila plan to deliver June referendum. Kenyatta and ODM leader to hold joint rallies for the first time. This is a story you can find on page 4 and 5 of your Star with all the details right there. And right next to that, DP's allies rule out Ruto-Raila alliance and call it impossible. It's a story on page 6 of your Star, but even as they say with politics, there really isn't any permanent friend or foe, just interest. So even this particular headline could change during the course of between now and when we get to the general election. But it's a story you can get on page 6 of your Star. Finally, from page of the Business Daily. Kenyans worth more than 3 billion shillings revealed. Investors with net assets of at least 3.3 billion shillings fall to 90 from 106 in 2019. And some of those who are in that particular elite Club, Dr. James Mwangi of Equity Bank, Dr. Chris Kirubi as well, and Mr. Balubai Patel. So if you want the details of this particular rich list, you can get it in your copy of your Business Daily with all the details therein. Also, right next to that intriguing story, ex-Nokia CEO wanted in Nairobi over KRA tax leakage. Of course, KRA at pains to make sure they pick up all the revenue that they need with the expenditure that's needed moving forward. And this particular ex-CEO in the crosshairs of the Revenue Authority. That story can be found in your copy of your Business Daily this morning. So that's what you're waking up to as far as your dailies are concerned. But right now, it's all about the road to the referendum. Is it ready, steady, go? Where are we on that as it stands? Now, the BBI co-principals, President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga, are expected to lead the pro-BBI team in a campaign drive to popularize the initiative ahead of the June referendum. This comes after the bill attained the constitutional threshold of 24 counties required. The number of counties that have passed the bill now stands at 41 after Kericho and Wajir endorsed the bill. Yesterday morning, of course, is where all of this happened. Let's have Giverson Minor giving us the latest.
The campaigns to popularize the BBI initiative will officially kick off Monday next week. Making the announcement on Wednesday, the BBI Secretariat, led by co-chairs Junet Mohammed and Dennis Waweru, said President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga will lead the exercise ahead of June referendum.
I mean vigorous campaign that is going to shake every corner of this country, and we are going to reach to every village in this country. We are going to talk to every man and woman in this country to tell her or to tell him why this document is good for Kenya.
Further, the Secretariat will form 10 committees to spearhead the campaigns.
It is going to be headed by a senior leader, a senior politician, with his team of around 10 members of parliament and 10 leaders from other sectors of leadership, and they are going to go to different parts of the country to go and do civic education.
This comes after the initiative attained the constitutional threshold of 24 counties required. Some of the pro-BBI counties, among them Kiambu, are still in celebratory mood. The number of endorsements currently stands at 40 after Kericho and Wajir counties endorsed the bill Wednesday morning. 6 counties are yet to make a determination, with only Baringo County rejecting the bill so far.
If this document passes, will become CECs. They will become ministers in their county assemblies. The MCAs are enlightened nowadays. Yeah, they are not like those previous people. They know what they are doing. This issue of car grant, this is neither here nor there. What's a car grant of 2 million shillings?
Among the 40 counties that nodded to the bill includes counties in the perceived Deputy President William Ruto's stronghold, appearing to be a blow to the DP, who is not keen on the BBI.
And all those who've been saying that we are getting nowhere, now we know. They've been wasting their time going around the country, yeah, talking to themselves, competing among themselves. But now the real competition will begin. And that competition is for the people of Kenya to endorse the first critical amendment to the 2010 Constitution through this process.
In preparation for the June referendum, the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly is pushing for a referendum bill that will guide the process. This includes the verification of the vote, handling of petitions that may arise if the results are challenged in court, and the duration in which the petitions should be resolved. Senate Speaker Kenneth Lusaka and his National Assembly counterpart Justin Muturi have also formed a joint committee to look at modalities of presenting the BBI bill to both houses. The two speakers have already received resolutions of at least 29 county assemblies communicating the decisions on the BBI bill. Giverson Minor, K24, Nairobi.
That Giverson, as far as setting the stage is concerned. Let me get to my panel in studio, and of course joining the conversation via video link in studio, we have Embakasi East MP, Honorable Babu Wino. Morning.
Morning, Jeff.
Karibu sana, welcome to the show.
Asante sana.
Asante sana for making time. Also joined by the Dean of School of Law at the African Nazarene University, Dr. Duncan Ojwang. Morning, welcome to the show as well.
Asante, morning.
Asante sana for making time. Joining the conversation via video link, we have Millie Lwanga. She's a governance expert. Morning, Millie.
Good morning.
Karibu sana, welcome to the show.
Asante.
Thanks for making time to be on the show as well. We were supposed to also have Gladys Boss-Cholet. Unfortunately, couldn't make it to be on the show this particular morning. Sends her apologies as well. But as I say, the show must go on. I want to start from there, from that particular story. Come to you, Honorable Owino. Seems like from, the Director of Elections, as far as your party is concerned, this one is in the bag. We are done. We've gotten it to the threshold that we need. The road is clear, the referendum is here, and we'll also get that. Are you feeling as optimistic with what's left as far as the referendum is concerned?
Thank you very much, Jeff. First of all, I would like to say a good morning to Kenyans who are watching us. And number two, commenting on what my whip in Parliament has talked about, actually the writing was on the wall long time ago. This is an idea whose time has come, and this is an idea that is going to pass. So it's not news. It's not something that is alarming. It is something that was expected of us and of the Kenyans.
Right.
Because the constitution that we had that we have, the 2010 constitution, actually in the last schedules of that constitution, states clearly that there is a room for an amendment of a constitution, and a constitution is a breathing document. So in such a situation, we are allowed to amend that constitution for the interest of the Kenyan citizens.
Right.
So as at now, you can see what has happened in the county assemblies. Actually, as we speak, 41 county assemblies have already passed the BBI bill. So what does that tell you? It tells you if the will of the people at the grassroots level, at the ground level, have already passed it, then it will generally translate. It will be congruent that if the will have already passed the will of the people, then the people on the ground will automatically pass it.
Okay, I want to push back on that because some people are saying even with the 41 counties having this passed,
Yes.
probably that will was nudged into a certain direction with the car grant. Junet Mohammed says it's neither here nor there, calls it 2 million shillings. Cumulatively, it's billions of shillings to the exchequer. But some people are saying that really was the factor that has this resounding success that we're now seeing at the county assemblies.
Jeff, you and I know very well that every MCA in this country, at least 90% of MCAs have cars. So the car grant is neither here nor there. These are people who already have their means of transport. So the car grant, actually as public servants, an MCA is entitled at least to have a car, at least to move from one place to the other when they are going to offer their services in various wards. So for me, it's not an enticement policy that we used, but for me is what a need for the MCA, what a need for the normal Wanjiku, that the MCAs saw that it be fit for them to pass it.
Okay. We'll be coming back to that particular issue because it is indeed a dicey one, but I want to get to Dr. Ojwang on this as well. Away from that, legally speaking, because there still seem to be a couple of hurdles in the corridors of justice, do you feel those cases have what it takes to probably stop this process in its tracks?
Yeah, I know there are some few cases in court, about 7 consolidated cases before a 5-judge bench. There are some in the Supreme Court about the process. Some might, the Supreme Court might speak after the fact because some of them were challenging or questioning how do we pass this in the counties. But that has already now happened. So there are challenges, yes. You remember there is the order that this will not move to referendum until the cases are cleared and given a clean bill of health, so to speak. And the court also said, it doesn't mean that we cannot sit back after the process and say you are involved in a process in futility. So we don't think that once it is done, we cannot even come and review even whether those county assembly votes did the right thing, whether they did public participation which was sufficient or not. So yes, there is that lacuna in law. There was no clear legal process. Remember, there is no rule on referendum and what counties are supposed to do. The County Act, I think, have some threshold. They were wondering, does it get taken to first, second reading? Does it take simple majority or two-thirds? Do we take it to public participation? Do we amend it? Can we amend it if we want to amend it, for example? So those questions have not been answered yet. But I think, as Mheshimiwa have said, the BBI train looks like it is gaining very good momentum through the county assembly.
Right.
And as he was saying, you know, those are the people on the ground. Now, you know, if there is a car grant, if there is any other issue, it's not well quantifiable, because that inducement, unless it is inducement that I will kill somebody, those are just political process. And to me, referendum is a political process,
right.
and those are politics and management side of the thing.
Okay.
But however, it could raise the concern whether the vision of what devolution was supposed to be, which was that we have 48 governments and not one government, and they are independent and they can only cooperate. Whether the 10 years of Jubilee have enabled stronger devolution,
right.
or it has weakened the counties. I think there is a series of decisions that have weakened the financial independence, that have weakened the governor, whether it is through KRA, whether it is through the impeachment fear and scare, whether it is through the anti-corruption files. And so overall, that trajectory then, you know, is it kind of a good thing and simply a show of how famous BBI is when 40 counties pass it?
Okay.
Or it actually shows that there is nothing much and the national government have really swallowed the power of counties to be autonomous and government.
I want us to segue with that particular point and get Millie in on this particular conversation. Millie, a resounding yes, it would seem, 41 counties passing this particular bill. But as Honorable Owino says, do you feel this is accurately reflective of what's on the ground? Unajua wanasemanga even on social media, kwa ground vitu zinakuanga different. Do you think it represents that will of the people there as well?
I think we will be surprised when we go to the, and I say this because that right from the war, we had each of feeling that there were, that the discussion had not been common teaching, and that the common teaching was not aware of what was in that document. Now, we have increasingly seen that as the two principals, the two main people, that is Honorable Raila and His Excellency the President, have engaged vastly in the process and reminded people that it's about them. To a large extent, we can see people begin to come out and seem to have better understanding of what is it there for them. Now, I want to agree with my fellow panelists that what we are calling induced enticement, I think in any lobbying advocacy process, you cannot miss to have people. And when you bring something to the table that caters for 54 million or so people, then you must think that there's something that some people need to be convinced about and others have to be convinced about. We've seen that in all processes. We've seen teachers waiting and schools are about to be open before they push for their agenda because you know they needed them. We've seen doctors do the same. And I'm not surprised that the MCA pushed for this issue that they've been discussing since 2013, at the time when the BBI was coming. And I'm also not surprised that they voted as they did, because I think it would be pretty absurd for any county not to want 35% of the resources to come to the counties. Over time, we have continued to praise the fact that devolution has enabled them to see roads that they had never seen before, to realize that this is pesa yetu, na ni pesa ya umma, and it can help us. So it would be surprising if they don't want more, because we know that it will take time for the system to settle before governors the executive and the county government stops misusing much of the funds. So the more they have, the better it is that, and the bigger the guarantee that not all the resources coming to the county will be lost on administrative costs, but we have more and more for development. So it would be very strange for anyone to see it that way, particularly noting that even surveys that have been carried in the past have shown that Kenyans are generally happy with devolution and generally don't want to do that.
It's an interesting case that has been brought out that right there, and Honorable Win, I'll come to you on that as well, because Dr. Ojwang said probably the reason why it passed how it did is not because of popularity, but because of the state of devolution. And it's funny because even within the BBI, there's a chapter that's supposed to be strengthening devolution, but looking from the 10 years that we've had with this particular government, are these institutions stronger, or do they have to sing to the tune of the national government 10 years on?
I think, Jeff, devolution has worked to some extent, and with proper implementation, we will actually be there. In my own view, when you look at the devolution, when you look at the counties, look at the development that has taken place in various counties in this country, and look at the jobs that have been provided at the county level, look at the hospitals constructed at the county level, look at the roads constructed at the county level, look at the schools which have been constructed at the county level, and look at the bursaries which have been issued at the county level. So to me, devolution has worked. So with proper implementation, and we will be there, we have to start by rolling, then we go to sitting, then we crawl, we sit, then eventually we start walking. So by the end of the day, it's a process, it's not an event. So with this, at least let us accept the fact that it has so far worked. And devolution, to me, with the increment of the funds that is going to be awarded to various counties from 15% to 35%, meaning that if a county, for example, gets 10 billion as at 15%, the 35% of that goes to around 23 billion. So what does that tell you? That the money is doubling. With the doubling of the money, more jobs will be created. With the doubling of money, more hospitals, more social amenities, more talents will be tapped, more schools, and actually to me, with that, there's going to be serious money that is going to trickle down up to the last person on the ground. Okay,
let me just jump in there, because that's something that has been said, but also the counter argument to that, and what people are trying to understand is, if at 15%, I'd have governors here and deputy governors saying, we haven't gotten money for 3 months, and that's at 15%, what miracle happens at 35% to make this work more effectively?
You know, Dubai used to be a desert, and now you know what it is. Look at Singapore under Lee Kuan Yew. They came from somewhere. We can't say that now we can't come from somewhere. We have to move. And in my own understanding, if we just curb this ghost called corruption, then money will be channeled to the county levels. With the proper usage of the tax that the Mwananchi is paying and the proper usage of the money that we've borrowed, then I can assure you that that money is going to reach the county levels.
Dr. Ojwang, that's been an issue that has been spoken about. Our president said that we are losing 2 billion shillings. He didn't say who they are, but they are taking 2 billion shillings every day. Incidentally, we're supposed to be paying, I think, around 2.7 billion shillings in terms of public debt right now. So there's another whole conversation right there. But how do you deal with that ghost of corruption? Because clearly, even he acknowledges a problem with his government. Where is it? Is it political goodwill? Is it institutions that can't do the job? Because 2 billion shillings per day is quite a lot of money to just vanish from coffers.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. I think that, you know, the more I see or easily find that almost all the governors are in Nairobi for most part of the week, the more it shows me, and Mweshime is laughing because he can see. I'm like, are you not supposed to be the president of Homa Bay? You are here, and you are here, and you are here. And when do you, I have a house here, I live in Nairobi. It shows you that the constitution without constitutionalism cannot work. And that at the end of the day, you know, constitution was one of the devolution was one of the way presidency, imperial presidents was being checked. And we can discuss whether that check and balance have worked or not. Mheshimiwa is talking of bursary and all this. This is what he already does as even a member of parliament. You don't need an autonomy and self-rule and to say you have 48 government to distribute bursary check. I saw one video where I was distributing bursary check and then telling wananchi, if you have missed and you have called me and I didn't answer, send a text if I don't pick your call. I saw that very well. So, Mheshimiwa Babu, you are distributing bursary checks, not because you are a government, but you are an MP. But the devolution dream was quite wild in how much it will have done. When we look at the several cases, including when to disperse the money, including the war that the counties had with the conditional grant, because the national government has refused to unbundle some functions, and they take some of the county money and give it back as a conditional grant. If you do ABCD, and that was in court, it was in the Supreme Court, that is manipulation. When we look at how quickly a county function can be moved back to national government, whether that person is a good governor or not, it shows you how fluid the field has and how the campaign to continuously weaken devolution has been met. Now, when we talk of corruption, albeit there is corruption, you know, Mheshimiwa is giving us a case of growth, of crawling and then sitting and walking. I really bemoan the issue of corruption, but every time I want to talk of corruption in the same sentence with county, I realize I am playing the national government narrative, because much of the money, even in the worst case scenario, is lost at the national government. Let me tell you, in the worst day of devolution, if that money is sent to me in Homa Bay and somebody take them in Homa Bay, that is still better corruption, if there is such a thing, than if that money is taken in Nairobi by one person. Because when he takes him in Homa Bay, that is worst case scenario and illegal case scenario. So I'm just saying, in that worst case scenario, that person who has taken that money in Homa Bay will be racing and building a house there, where I can say, "Hii nyumba, I know you have built it with our money." That is accountability right there. As they build that house, some people might come and get some job. So there is no comparison. And the narrative that there is more corruption in county is a narrative that the national government has created. And it is unfortunate.
I want to take a break at that particular point in time and, of course, get some reactions on that. In terms of that particular point, some sins greater than others. We'll take a break at that point, come back after the break. Talk about where we stand right now as far as the road is concerned, and take your views. You can get me at I am Jeff Mote or KTT4 TV back after the break. This is a newspaper review on KTT4 TV. Don't go too far.